Hello, hello.
Hello.
All right, so Christine Nanyondo here.
Yes, let's use this chance to test your video, please.
Okay.
You're co-hosted, so you can just click video. Yeah, make sure to balance it out so that we can see you clearly.
Oh,
Continue to tilt the screen, yeah.
that one is okay.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Just make sure your head isn't chopped.
There.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Do I need to go to another room where a little bit dark over these spaces? Because it's near the reception, I need to move away.
The other room is darker.
Let me go to the room where I was supposed to sit and see.
Okay.
But you are the hero. Is that okay? Hello?
I think that's okay. Continue to adjust a bit.
There.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, let's just wait for the others to join us as well. Design Hub Kampala, who is using this account? Is it Jean?
Yeah, just one moment.
Okay.
We're trying to log in with a different device.
Different what? Design Hub Kampala, who is using this? No, YouTube is what played.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. Let's test your video before we start.
That's my what?
Video. Kindly switch on video. We see
Okay.
everything is fine.
Can
There
you see
you
me?
are. Yeah.
Some earplugs so that we avoid the chickens and stuff. I hope you won't be able to hear them. Or it may be me who won't be able to hear them. Yeah.
Alright.
Is it okay? It's a good picture?
Yeah, the picture is perfect.
Well enough? Sorry. Video? Can you see me well enough?
Yes, we can see you perfectly, and the audio is good as well.
Brilliant. All right. So we're on finally.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
right. Okay, Jean, we're waiting on you. and we'll be able to start. Liz isn't here yet.
Right, what are the chances that you can hear me now? Technology is not my strength, but I'm here.
Yes, Jean, we can hear you. Can we test the video?
Awesome. Yeah. Yes. Da, 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 da. Okay. It is going to get better because my video seems like it has red in it. So for now, you won't see my face as the tech team supports that. I'm just waiting for one more panelist. Please. Please, are you on the call? Have you been able to join yet?
Yes, I joined.
Christian, please. Kakoza, please.
Hey, Jean, any word from Liz? Because we're almost hitting the 10-minute mark. It would be a good time to start.
We are almost hitting the 10-minute mark, but she's being called, so she's not picked up yet. I'm crossing my fingers that in 2 minutes she'll have picked up.
All right.
Well, I think it's 10 minutes, and thank you, Elizabeth and Christy, for keeping time. We're having trouble reaching Liz. I'm hoping that she will find her way here. And in the meantime, technology will be nice to me. I think it's quite handy that the theme is mental health, so it's an anxious morning as everything seems to just fall apart. Yeah, how handy. So my name is Mackie. I am the director of Design Hub Kampala. And what Design Hub is, it's mostly a community and a home for the creative industry and circular economy. We have different businesses just living together and kind of learn and support each other as we seek to find our place in this innovation landscape. And today, as a partner, we set up Uganda that is launching the Kampala Innovation Week that's happening next week. We have the last grand finale pre-event under the theme of mental health and entrepreneurship. Liz, does your hand just mean that you can't hear me, or is something funny about my voice? I really miss the old school workshops where I could see the people that I'm talking to. So I have computers around me, and it just feels strange. But without further ado, I'm just going to let the panelists introduce quickly just who they are. So just going fast with Elizabeth.
Okay, I think switch on your video, Jean, for the viewers so they can see.
I will
who's
do that
talking.
in a bit. Thank you.
All right, all right.
Elizabeth, would you
Can you
mind
hear
telling us
me?
who you are? Yes, now we can. Gosh,
All
you're
right.
great.
I'm brilliant. I actually managed to find the unmute button. So my name is Elizabeth Kibukamisuke. I'm what you call a clinical psychologist, and I've been a clinical psychologist for 21 years. I started out my professional life in Norway, and then I came back to Uganda almost 15 years ago, and I've been practicing in Uganda ever since. So I did 7 years in Norway, and I've done almost 15 years in Uganda. I am a clinician, so I'm not in academia, and I am in private practice. So I see paying clients and organizations. That's me in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. I thought I would rehearse my French, but I won't put myself to shame. Luckily, my camera is still off. And then Christine from Strong Minds Uganda, do you mind telling us a little bit about who you are?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Christine Nanyondo. I work with Strong Minds as a quality assurance manager. I've worked in this field of counseling, psychotherapy for quite a big number of years. I've served here in Uganda with other agencies in West Africa, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, and specifically rolling out interpersonal psychotherapy for groups. Yeah, my interest here is to ensure that we scale up mental health services to scarce resource communities where services are scarce, and people don't have the capacity to reach. We want to deliver them closer where they live.
Thank you very much. Just the struggle finding the mute button and unmute button again is quite difficult. But I really appreciate both of you for being willing to share your expertise in this conversation. That's quite. Am I audible now? Someone give me a thumbs up, something that I can see that I'm audible. Sorry, just give me one moment. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I like technology. That's great. Thank you, yes. So really, our goal for our conversation today is the idea of mental health has been quite interesting in this landscape, and I feel like the COVID pandemic started to give us. Do I have echo? What's your facial expression?
Jean, could you fix your audio? It's not as good as it was before.
Is this better? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I like that. Whew. We're gonna keep trying. It's mental health, so I'm hoping that the audience is super gracious to me as we what the thing is. Anyway, the goal for the conversation today is really to bring the mental health conversation into the business space, and our theme for Kampala Innovation Week is around, harnessing innovation and finding career opportunities. So we're going to do a little bit of opportunity mapping in this area that's quite new. The pandemic suddenly brought conversations around, I am taking care of my mental state. People started thinking about feelings and asking questions in the mental health, perspective. I feel like I saw a lot of TikTok videos and content around that. So maybe we're starting with Elizabeth, from your experience and expertise. How would you relate mental health, the mental health structures in business and their potential effect on the bottom line of how business is done?
Right. Thank you for that question, Jean. So mental health is kind of like taking care of your mind, or the apparatus of your mind, which is the brain and the spinal cord and all the rest of that. So what we need to understand is that it's an organizing structure for our lives and for our environment. So that when you're talking about yourself individually, or you're talking about your organization, or you're talking about your society, your community, it's all got to do with psychological structures. They're the ones that allow us to live in communities and to live at harmony with ourselves and in balance. So when it comes to starting up a new company, it is a readjustment that takes place, and you try to adjust to the demands that you have not been making on yourself in this new situation. Now, when you get things like pandemics, the same thing happens. You start realizing that you have a problem because you're making demands on yourself that you're not used to making on yourself, and everybody feels unstable. And that instability is what brings us to looking at our mental health and our situation mentally and psychologically and emotionally. But that also includes the way we think, because the way we think will have an effect on the way we behave and the way we are going to deal with problems. So that in a nutshell, I hope is helpful for you to understand where I am coming from. So to organize people in mindsets and in group sets and in team sets in such a way that they are set to be successful, but also to know how to manage disappointment and failure.
Yeah, and just the conversation of mental health, I find it different in my own country, Uganda, and to contextualize what that looks like, I find it's a new conversation. So what does that really mean for us here that we've not had the structures, supporting structures to kind of enable us to fully appreciate it?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yes. So I think that everything that is new is always a little bit contentious. Look at what's happened to the vaccines, for example, for the COVID event. So I think what we need to do is to understand that the conversation has started and that people are beginning to accommodate the structure of mental illness as something other than just being, ready to go to Butabika. We are beginning to understand that even small things, or what may appear to be small things, not being able to get up in the morning, feeling heavy, feeling disconnected to your family or to your partner, to your job. All of these things will have an effect on how you feel. And once there's something that is affecting how you feel, you're not going to perform as well as you want to perform. So the realization, I think, of all of this is coming into people's minds. And we're beginning to create those structures in which we can place our understanding. That is the beginning. Within the next few years, it'll be flying as high as in every other society.
Yeah.
We're there, yeah.
And it's going to go to Kristen. I think Strong Minds has quite diversified in terms of the areas of reach. So give me a little insight there. The mental health work that you're doing outside Kampala, which you find that, in Kampala, we're a little bit privileged, and that means it's people who are willing to lean into this conversation of mental health. But I know you've expanded in Lira, Mayuke, Mbarara. What is the conversation around mental health in those spaces, and where are we at?
Okay, thank you so much, Joanne, and I'm happy to join this conversation. Mental health, as Elizabeth has talked about in the past, it was a no-go zone. People didn't want to talk about it. Whenever people thought when we talk about mental illness, it's about Butabika. Either people will think, you are working with in mental health. No, go to Butabika in communities. But right now, a lot of impact has been done by Strong Minds, whereby we've done a lot of mass mobilization, mass sensitization on the topic concerning mental illnesses, specifically concerning about depression and anxiety. People have come to know the facts about depression, that it lands in families, It doesn't discriminate whether you are rich or you're poor, rural or urban. And it runs in families. The person closer to you might be a potential candidate struggling with mental illness. And above all, it's treatable. But the miserable part of it, we cannot easily access those services because people were not aware. When you go on streets to distribute flyers on mental health, you will see few if they're there, but you'll see many flyers on malaria, things on cosmetics, where everyone knows about so many things. But when it comes to that topic, people they don't have a lot of information. But right now, with Strong Minds work, we've done a lot of mass awareness on radios. On radios, such forums like For Today, also in schools where we work, in communities where we work, to let people know that it's okay, it's normal, and it's perfect for you to seek mental health services. What have we seen right now? Many people have registered our 252 voluntarily without being forced by a relative that, no, you are not feeling okay. You need to see a psychologist. You need to see a counselor. They feel, they scream themselves and say, I cannot sleep. I'm worried. I'm not okay. I need to see a counselor. So that has been a great achievement, and also whereby people walk in to our offices to seek services. And leaders, above all, our leaders, when they're accepted, to join us and mobilize their communities, to allow to encourage us. They call us, and also they participate in our events, and they continue to encourage people to join our services. We believe because of our force, when we collaboratively join together and let people know that it's a need, it's one of the packages. If you don't have it, if you don't on your list, if it's missing holistically, you are not having it all. Thank you.
I'm just really excited just to think that, now we can have conversations around mental health. There's still a lot of stigma because, like you say, you're either a crazy person. There's so many memes around mental health, like our forefathers would be turning in their graves because we're saying things like we have panic attacks, like we're talking about. We've done these things and we live pretty well, but it's really interesting that we are open to this conversation. But just going back to Liz, because our audience is mostly entrepreneurs and innovators and people running businesses. And there's so many interesting pictures. You start off running a business looking prim and proper, and the day ends with your hair just feeling like a menace. What are those telltale signs that should make you feel like I need to check on my mental health?
Did you say Liz?
Yes, Elizabeth. Liz is not here, so I'm going to stick to.
Sorry, I thought maybe she'd arrived and I hadn't noticed. So I am thinking that there are different things that happen to us, that we're all on a spectrum. And we all start out, with fairly good mental health, and then we get socialized and we have to live in societies, and, we're chipped away at and made to, fit into boxes that we are not always happy to fit into. And then we grow into adults and we're restricted in the way that, we can fit into society. And that has an effect on our well-being because our authenticity is disturbed. And in order to be authentic and also a member of society, there can be a conflict in that situation. So what happens is that when you have a moment where you meet yourself kind of in the hallway, you may have a moment of disbalance. And this balance is what creates mental ill health. So mental health is not just about illness, it is actually about wellness. When you feel that you've kind of gotten a cold, or you physically feel you've got a fever, or you feel that things are not quite right in your system, you go and you see a doctor. This is the same kind of thing that we need to be able to do, to actually have checkups once a year, for example. And when you have that checkup, you're going to understand your system, how your system works, because I think most of the fear that we have around mental health is that we don't understand it. And anything we don't understand creates a lot of fear. I think as psychologists and counselors, we haven't done a good enough job of actually explaining that. And I think the psychiatrists have got perhaps a better lead on this, but they are doctors. So they will not heal you, they will treat your symptoms. If you want to be healed, you have to fetch the gunge that is in your system and bring it out and work with it. So this is what we want to do. We want to get people to stop thinking of mental health as the end of the road when you've had all these steps walking you to Butabika and you've ignored them. And when you finally get to Butabika, that's when you reach out for help and nobody's really able to help you in the way that you would like to be helped. You are then protected from society and society is protected from you in Butabika. Yeah. Before that happens, get the help that you need. Take yourself seriously, for God's sake.
Well, thank you so much, Steve. And Christian, just coming to you with a bit of the same question here. What is it that we miss? Because I think things to do with mental health, because it's not been part of our conversation for a while, we've normalized some things. That before I go for a meeting, I feel like I have butterflies in my belly, but I can't really name that as anxiety. Or I'm not sleeping, but that really means that, I just, I need to be tired and it's okay. I've just stayed in my room. And, those things that we've normalized, that we'd like to shed some light so we can, help people realize this is not normal, it's not okay just because you've done it. What are those things that you feel like people are missing to turn on the light bulb that their mental health needs to change?
Okay. Thank you so much, dear. True, there, especially in this category, we are people, creators. They strive hard. They have to innovate. They think they want to lead and transform the communities and their families and be at the top of the game. That one brings a lot of stress, whereby they are worried what will come tomorrow. I need to achieve this. I need to get this, and the whole society is watching them. Whatever they do, they write on them, they watch them, everything. So there are things that I'll unpack few symptoms of depression, where when you lose interest in things you used to enjoy. You used to go to forums, you used to meet with other people around you, but you start saying, no, I can't go there. I can do it on my own. I don't need to socialize with other people. So that is not normal. People might think that, yeah, I'm doing it. I need a safer space. You need it. But if it takes more than 2 weeks, there is a problem. People call you, join us. You're like, no, I'm planning. Maybe you are not silently in your closed rooms planning, but maybe something is eating you up, if I can use that word. Yeah, again, eating patterns, when your eating patterns are changing, people might feel, no, it's okay, it's normal. Maybe my body, I want to cut weight. Think about it. Also, changes in sleeping patterns. You can't go to sleep, or when you sleep too much. So check yourself. Your lack of energy is one of them. You've got many people, when they don't have the energy, they will think of, maybe I have malaria. They will run to the hospital. They will check. They will say nothing is there, but you wake up. You strive to wake up. You strive to do the simplest things, to organize your company, to organize your books, to organize your receipts, and also your business as well. So those are some of the things you can check and say, as Elizabeth said, I need to go for a checkup. Not this other not only when they go what we miss, people go to hospital, to facilities, but what they do to check up for malaria, typhoid, and other illness, the mental health clinic will be there in the corner. They will forget to go there. I will encourage them, as you go to check for other illnesses, walk into that clinic, and also they screen you, they check you.
Yeah. I think I really like it.
Another one, loss of hope, guilty, and other people, some thoughts of it's better, I'm better off dead.
I think, to be fair, it's really hard to talk about mental health in 1 hour, right? And we're only scratching the surface and into entrepreneurs or business owners. I like that you talked about the pressure. You know, you have an innovation. Is it going right? Is my marketing the product right? There's something always triggering your head, and we have a lot of pressure on our shoulders to just do well. And with this global market where we all post all our beautiful things online, I feel like it has built the anxiety. Before I moderated this, I think I was looking at all the others. Oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? Is this going to turn out right? It's going to look the same as I have, right? What am I doing for my brands? You know, but that's our reality. And you know, how do we pause and say, you're not alone, Jean, you're not going crazy because you're having these thoughts. I'm having them too. And something else I want to touch on that I feel like we don't say enough. So mental health as a luxury product, because we feel, and Elizabeth, someone in private practice, I'd like to talk about this, because you know, I'm assuming you have some clients, and a lot of us now feel like, but it's so expensive to see a therapist, that's why I'm not going. The perception that mental health is for, you know, the privileged, the luxury. It's actually an essential product. But I've had someone refer to it. Let me speak to that.
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Yeah. All right. Do I have to put on the mute button? Can you hear me? Yeah. So I was just as you were talking, I was listening to how, you know, you have your self-talk and your self-explanations. Yeah. And this is where we all go in our minds. We have this self-talk, oh my goodness, am I going to do well enough? What do I have to do? We get into a stress situation, we push ourselves into a stress, and then we try to explain it away. Well, everybody's going to feel nervous about this. Of course, it's normal that I should be this way. And all of that is very healthy mentally. It's when you have the self-talk that doesn't really help you get on with what you have to get on with. I'm useless, nobody loves me, you know, that kind of talk. I should, but I'm not. So that can be a distraction. Now, to your question, what is the luxury aspect of therapy? It's not. It's absolutely not a luxury. It shouldn't be. What happens is that we are not enough therapists to go around. We do not have enough clients. And if we're going to make a living, it comes down to that balance. Now, if we got more patients, if we had more of us, the whole thing would settle into something completely different. So if I could see, and I knew I could see 10 patients a day, I wouldn't manage that, but some people can. And then I could charge each one 100,000, it would start making sense. If it could be taken as an insurance possibility, if you could get insurance for your mental health, that would also bring down the prices. I mean, there are ways that we can work around this, but we need to, just like with the mobile phone, it started out being a luxury item. And you know, now you have a choice of different mobile phones, and you can get mobile phones for 200,000, you can get them for 5 million. Yeah, you have a choice. So we would be in that position if we could get insurance for mental health, and if we could get enough patients and enough counselors. And when I say enough counselors, we also have to improve our game. I don't think we are doing a good enough job, I think, in many, many cases. Yeah.
I really like, because you made it easy for me to go to my next question, which is, what are the opportunities in this field? So we're talking about innovation, and you know, there's so many things that happen in fintech, agriculture, you know, healthcare, for other things. The business opportunity in the healthcare space. Do you speak to that?
I'm not quite sure if I am the best person to ask for that. I'm not a specialist in innovation. I only know really about clinical issues. So I think maybe there's probably somebody better to answer that question than I am. Christine? Christine, can you adjust your screen? I can't see you properly.
Hey, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, love. Yeah.
Thank you so much. For innovation, Strong Minds has been so innovative because mental health need is overwhelming. In our communities, the need is overwhelming, but there are few people who can provide a service. What we did was to use interpersonal psychotherapy for groups, putting people in groups. Even right now, we use it via mobile teletherapy counseling. People in groups, that means we can easily reach a big number of people who are struggling with depression, 5 people on a call with 1 counselor. And also, we've innovated in a way that as other agencies train people for malaria on community level to give out information concerning malaria, concerning maternal health, and others. We've been innovative to make sure that our own communities, we identify people who have the passion for mental health. We train them, we screen them, we train them. Some of were, we call them patients. They were our clients. When they graduated, they realized the need that I was not okay. I wanted to kill. I was making my business was failing, but because of your services, I felt better. And I believe in my neighbors, my community. There are people who are like me. I'm ready. You can train me. We've coached them, we've trained them, and right now, proudly, they are scaling up. And also, being innovative, our services, they are free. They are not cost attached. So people can easily walk in and get services. Lastly, our services, they are closer to people. Because why people don't want to access mental health services? Because they think of because there are few people who are trained, the Elizabeths. You can't find many, and you find them in Mulago, maybe Butarika. So walking and taking transport, they will say, look, for malaria, I'll go to a clinic. They will be treated and they will be okay. Why is it that when it comes to mental illness, I have to take a taxi? They used to ask questions. What we do, we screen them from their compounds, and also we bring therapy under a tree. We don't in a school compound closer to them, a health facility closer to them, a next door compound. So they can easily walk in for such services. Like malaria people, they were innovative. They said, village health workers, you learn to do. Even my grandma at the border knows Fonsida. You could say, we want people to bring Fonsida. That is Fonsida. It's the same thing we did. Bring services closer to people. We've seen over 80,000 people being treated by Strong Minds. Thank you.
Really exciting what you're doing. But while Elizabeth, you claim that you know, but you already talked about how there's a big need, right? There's few of you, which is why we perceive mental health as for the bourgeoisie, those who can afford it. But the reason that it's priced is because there's few people. And that to me just really shows the opportunities there, business opportunities for people to maybe, collaborate with Strong Minds or to be trainers, to be peers, something, to come up with, I don't know. I think until recently we have a hotline now for calling in and mental health issues, but that's not enough. So that there's a lot of opportunities there that young people that we can continue to explore.
Right. Can you hear me? Yeah. I think that Strong Minds, by the way, have done an absolutely phenomenal job. But let me just point out that Strong Minds does have donors, and many of us don't. So we have to be able to make a living out of what we are actually seeing in our offices. So that is one of the problems. Thank God for Strong Minds that they can put in an effort that we are unable to do. There are other psychosocial institutions that do jobs that are similar to Strong Minds. But like with everything, there is a private and there's a public sector, and then there are the NGOs in between. I cannot access the funds of NGOs, and most Ugandans who are psychologists or counselors cannot do that. So what they do is to charge the client, and they will be the ones who will need insurances. Now, there's some people who fall in between the boxes, because NGOs will look after refugees, they'll look after women, they will get money for specific inputs, if I understand properly. We don't. We take on anybody who's got a problem. And it might be somebody with money, and it might be somebody who doesn't have that much money, but they think that their mental health is important enough to put money into. So there is also the aspect that your mental health is important enough for you to want to pay for. Now, the innovations that I can put in, or other people like me can put in, are very different. They would be the kind of innovations that will make it easier for people to talk to us from their offices, for example, the online option. There will be things like making, I think group therapies will be very difficult for the kind of clients that I would get, because a lot of people want to be very secretive about their mental problems. So if you are a bourgeois, as people like to name them, and you have a high-flying job, you're a minister or something, and you get into a group, it is difficult. So I think groups are really, really helpful if you all have the same condition, if you all have an alcohol problem, if you all have a borderline personality disorder, and you sit together, you all have depression, you sit together and you go through it, and you all can help each other. I think that's a great structure, but it doesn't work for everybody. So I work outside what Strong Minds is doing, catching those who fall outside of that box. Yeah. Strategically, I think the best way to take care of your mental health is that you don't wait until you feel that you're out of it. Just go and have that checkup. And that is one thing that will help a lot of Ugandan psychologists, to know that people will come in and have checkups. I went to a group of clinics in Uganda, I won't give the name, and for a week, and tested the people who came into the clinics, and found that 50% of the people who came to the clinics for some other reason, whether it was malaria or cancer or something else, had depression or had anxiety or had a mental condition. But they were there for another purpose, and nobody ever even asked the question, how are you doing?
Well, we're in a communal culture, and we're just going to assume everything is fine. And we talked about something that I resonate with, which is secretive. And mental health is synonymous with secretive, because there's a big shame thing attached to it. And there's just a question about that. How do we work towards changing that a little bit? And, Christine, I'm also curious to know how you're working with, people outside from Palo as well, to not feel ashamed. So if you're doing malaria screening, you could do it publicly, maybe under a mandatory. But if it's going to my therapist, I'm not going to tell anyone where I'm going. I'm going for a meeting. We won't talk about it. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. People want to build trust, and they need a safer place, and they want confidentiality, because it involves people's sharing, unpacking their feelings, their emotions. So people would want to be what we do when because it's a group, you're saying in a group, we've been running groups in Kampala, even in beautiful communities like Namugongo, we had groups there, Namugongo, Entebbe, where you would think, this is a nice community, people won't come, they came. At first, I believe the first time we did it, people were like, why are you people, you're sitting, is it about Black, is it about saving, is it about, are you saving? So it was hard for people to think but we encouraged them, we psych-educated them. It's okay, it's normal. People will see us seated somewhere. They will ask, what are you doing? We're working, we are discussing certain issues. They don't need to go out and tell them, but they need to know, but they are working on some of the things without unpacking what is happening. We also, what we do in our groups, we ensure that we set up as rules concerning about confidentiality, and we also let them know the purpose why they are there and the reasons and the implication if in case they breach confidentiality. I believe to some people, they could use the before, but right now people want to run to groups, they want to seek counseling even individually, but at first people would feel, I can't come there. I need to get a group that is far from my community. Yeah, true. People need to make choice, and they visit or they meet with group members where they feel comfortable. Yeah. It's something we can't say we've worked on it totally, stigma and discrimination. And if they see such groups, and what are they doing? What are they discussing? But how we can overcome that by creating awareness in such communities that it's normal to have you people, however you're in business, to be somewhere, to participate in a social support group. You need issues that you have similar problems just in case about business, things are not happening, things are not going on well. Is it okay to find a space where you can talk about it with people who can understand, with people who can, with someone who can support you? Yeah, we're trying, but through, we try to make sure that confidentiality is being kept, but also letting people know that it's okay. Lastly, like in this other business, people who are innovative, people who are creative, they feel it's not, they are strong enough to handle everything. If we let them know that it's okay to talk about it, you can win here, but there are moments when you can't win. And it's okay for you to feel down, to be nervous, to be anxious, especially during this COVID, this crisis. People were hit, were not prepared, but still some people feel, I was a superstar, I was an innovator, how come I can't wake up, I can't do it? Yes, you can't, because you were shocked. You need to find someone to support you. Go seek support. Don't hide. It's normal to seek support.
Well, like I said, we're really scratching the surface here, and we have 10 minutes to kind of wrap this up. So we do want to ask some questions that have been sent from the audience. And this is mostly to Strong Minds Uganda. How can one access the telecounseling services?
Thank you so much. What you need to do is to dial *252 #. Then they channel you to option 10, that is counseling. Also, we have an Airtel line. I'll read the Airtel line at the end, whereby you call and you meet a counselor. They will screen you, they will attach you to a counselor. And the beauty with it right now, because it's telemobile, you will be joined by another innovator, another creator, but maybe in Bushenyi, in another district in Kampala, Wakiso, yeah.
And you know, I'm also such a big fan of private practice because I've benefited strongly from my therapist. So for Elizabeth, are there IT tools that you think would better improve your service? Yeah. You know, recently my therapist told me she was leaving, and I was just really devastated because then I have to hunt for a new one. And there's the things, there are ways that we could come up with an app just for me and her. Anyway, but from your own experience, what are those tools that you feel like would improve your practice better and accessibility? Because that gives some innovative, some ideas to support you hopefully.
Yeah. Precisely because I think there's somebody online who's also asking the same kind of questions. And I think this is an opportunity to open up the conversation from us out to the people who are entrepreneurs, people who want to start up new businesses. So are there ways that we can actually work together with people starting up new businesses, new startups? How do we make referral systems between psychologists, between doctors and psychologists, between counselors and patients? How do we do that? Is there any way that somebody can come in with an app, for example, and give us that opportunity? There is the importance of training. Do we have models that could be used? Can we have more of them? Can we have a selection? Are there young people who can come up with ideas for us? And then diagnostic tools. How do we diagnose the sicknesses that we have in a way that our patients can understand them? There's a language there that I think we have to look at, and an explanation mechanism, so that people can call in, for example, and then perhaps get a readback from the symptoms they're presenting in understandable ways in different languages. So I think that there are a lot of things that we can do together. There is a huge business potential in mental health. We just have to be a little bit more innovative in the way we think.
Yeah, and there's an interesting question, quite a mouthful, but someone's asking, could we have more discrete avenues for probably people in denial who, they're still in denial with their mental health, like a questionnaire that can help them kind of check stuff. So we have all these personality tests and things like that. It would be really nice to have a mental health test, and then from that you realize I need to, ABC. Are those tools that already existing that you've utilized, Elizabeth, as
of that type? Yeah, I mean, tools are my arsenal. I don't sort of like pull things out of my behind, but it's sorry for the expression, but yeah, there are tools, many different types of tools. The point is that many of them are irrelevant, or not completely irrelevant, but understandable for our people. So if you come from an environment where you talk in scientific terms, and if you come from an environment where you understand things from a different space, you have to be able to join those two elements. So what I think I'm trying to say is that in order to capture the attention of Ugandans so that they are able to understand what it is that we do, we, the clinicians, the counselors, we have to come up with our own particular language. The tools that I use are tools to help me understand somebody. If they're not doing that, then they're not really of that much use. And if I talk to people, the more people I talk to, the more I understand how things work in our society, the better I can give them what they need. That, I think, is my bottom line. We think differently from other people, and we have to respect that.
Yeah. Well, 1 hour was really difficult to have this conversation, but I think we touched pockets of little aspects of it, and it's really a conversation starter. I'm hoping maybe the future Design Hub can host a hackathon to come up with an innovative tool around mental health. So I'm going to ask you for some parting shots, and this is a conversation that we can also keep online in the future. But it's just the start, and I see so many opportunities. So maybe starting with Christine, what would be your parting shots for the audience? There's one more question to Elizabeth. So I'm going to ask that, and then we're going to do parting shots really quickly. My question goes to what problems hinder the therapist from doing a better job that can be addressed to make their services better? What is stopping you from doing a good job?
Yeah. Oh, that's put me in a tricky situation, because then I have to almost put some of I'm almost throwing my colleagues under the bus. But I do think that we definitely need to draw a line, and I beg for forgiveness for saying this. This is my take. We have to draw a line between the profession of clinical and mental health and religion. And I say that only because I know that there are some people who do not benefit from the religious perspective. I think some do, and that's fine. But when I go to a therapist myself, my need is not for the therapist to tell me to read a passage in the Bible. I need something else. I need something more professional than that. So I think one of the problems that we have is that the reason I think that happens is that we do not have supervision for our newly educated clinicians or psychologists or counselors. They get out of university, and I think very often they just let it, go do your thing, and it doesn't matter what you do, just get it done. So they have no supervision. They don't know half the time what they're doing. I had 5 years of supervision before I was let out on the crowd on my own. So I think that the uncertainty of how to do things is what is making many therapists very uncertain. And you get the imposter syndrome, and then you don't know what you're doing. And then, so we need to work with that. I thank that person for that question, by the way.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Kristen,
Yes.
parting shots for this crowd and maybe a call to action.
Pardon?
And I'll just say just final remarks from you as we
Okay.
finish this conversation as our time is done.
Okay, thank you so much. What I would say is to encourage people to embrace embrace mental health services. It's okay working, no matter you're an innovator, a leader, and a transformer. Still, there might be shots that you are not strong to manage on your own. It's normal for you to seek support, to seek services, and it's okay for you to be there and be supported. When you don't check your wellness, Elizabeth is saying wellness. Yeah, if you don't do it and you just check other areas, you leave this other part, you'll be you won't do better. Your success will not take on. Also, since they're innovators and creators, allow to delegate. You know it all. You are the one who started the business. You had the business idea on your own, but you can't be there 24/7. You're checking the books. You are in this other company. Encourage, allow other people to support you so that you can balance yourself. Work-life balance is very key. So that's what I can say. If you are healthy, you do more than you think. Thank you so much. Walk in, get those services. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you find your unmute button, Elizabeth?
My final parting shot.
Yeah.
I would like to, of course, advertise for myself. I am in private practice. I can be contacted by email, ikibukamusoke with one U @gmail.com. Can you hear me?
You type the email in the chat box so we can talk to it.
Oh, yes, I can definitely do that. Yeah. And then my telephone number, which I will do the same thing with, 0787-259-428. Get in touch. Let's have a first look at what's going on in your life. And let's try to get you into a space where you have mental control, because that's what we need. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for talking about a topic that cannot be summarized in 1 hour at all. But to me, especially to innovators, entrepreneurs running the business, my own life journey also as a female entrepreneur, comes with a lot of imposter syndrome, comes with a lot of struggles. And I would really advocate for businesses to make a safe space for the people in your teams to be as we're having, Monday morning meetings or board meetings, beyond checking on the agendas, have you submitted that report and where we at with this project? How do we start normalizing mental health checking conversation? How are you doing? But it also starts with the leaders, right? To be able to be transparent and vulnerable and say, I feel really anxious about this meeting. And that helps people in our teams also feel safe to be able to check. I've been struggling, I've been staying in bed a bit more. Part of our HR principles, it's okay, because when we have an accident, when we have malaria, we can get a sick day off. We can talk about how we're feeling. And this is a conversation that I'm really looking forward to see it change in workspaces, because with that, we'll be really give innovation a service. We're taking with generations, because it all starts heads, right? Our heads are great, and so with everything that we'll be making with that. So thank you for joining us. If you do have any other questions, you can email us at Design Hub. Just go to our website, and we'll be able to put you in touch with these amazing people. Elizabeth, I'll be in your inbox. And Strong Minds, I think you put up such really great structures already to support mental health in the country. So thank you very much. For those that have questions, please check our website, and we'll be happy to have these conversations. If you have innovations around mental health, that's a subject that's so close to my heart. It's close to my soul, actually. I'll be happy to be your soundboard in how we could put this product out there and how we could just, make it the best that has to be. It's a mental health conversation against the future in so many ways. So thank you very much for having us, and thank you for your time. Have a lovely day, and please sign up for Kampala Innovation Week that's starting on Monday, as this was the last pre-event from the 22nd to the 26th. And it's a place again that's relevant for you as an innovator or who's working on a solution. Come and just meet like-minded people, but also policy makers who need to understand what are those things that are lacking. So please to sign up, just go to www.kiw.ug and you'll get all the information, or check out all the Startup Uganda pages. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.